Hey guys, today I'm not doing a study and fold. I'm just doing the study for the Bible study today. I'm saying study instead of study. Anyway, doesn't matter. I'm gonna do that instead because I do have clothes that I can fold, that I need to fold, but quite honestly I've been away from home all day and I just don't feel like it. So we're just gonna do the study because I really want to do the study, and the reason why I want to do the study is today it rained, and the study is talking about drought, it's talking about rain, it's talking about how that you can sense that it's coming before it ever gets there, like the atmosphere changes. I'm getting ahead of myself, but you know what, we're gonna roll with it today. But the atmosphere changes and you know something's coming. Well, that's the way it was today. It was like, you know, well, Alabama's hot and muggy all the time. Well, I mean, not all the time, but a lot. But you know when it's going to rain. It's like you can smell it in the air. And we were supposed to be reading this time 1 Kings 1 through 22. And like I've said before, if you don't read it all, that's fine. If you don't read it and you just listen to it, that's fine. If you don't read it at all, but you just come to watch the studies or listen to the studies, that's fine too. It's up to you. I'm not going to judge you, and I'm not going to know. But we are going to be talking about, mainly is well, it's really just one chapter in 1 Kings. It's chapter 18. And I am going to be reading some of that, if not all of it, to y'all. I may read it all. I don't know yet. But because of the way the atmosphere was today, the way that rain was today, it made me want to go ahead and record this because it just felt like I wanted to do it today. So it's still raining. It's actually still raining, but it's dark now. So I'm going to get started with reading a little bit from this book, and it's called The Drought Is Almost Over. That's what it's called in both of the books, and I don't want to lose my place in my Bible. This is the other one, and it's both talking about the drought, and it's got a little bit difference in the way it does, but that's okay too. So we're going to go through this one first, and I won't read word for word, but I'm just going to read some of it. It says, have you ever noticed how the atmosphere feels when the storm is on the horizon? Which I was just talking about that. The wind begins to blow and it's still warm outside. Now the wind didn't blow a lot today, but it did get a little cloudy. Soon the clouds cover the sun and the winds shift and become a little stronger. To someone inexperienced, these changes may not seem significant, but if you've lived for a while, you can tell a storm is about to arrive because you've seen these changes before. You know that when it's a literal storm or when it's just a storm because something is happening in your life. It could be good, it could be bad. There are storms that could be happening, like things that change your life in a way that are good, but it still could feel a little bit hectic, a little stormy. Like, you know, those summer rains or the spring rains that we get where we know we really need those. They're not damaging, they're not hurting the earth, they're not like the hurricane. This is what this is coming off of, I believe, is the hurricane that's about to come through Florida, and be praying for all of those. And I know that probably by the time you see this, it may be over. I don't know when it's actually supposed to hit. Honestly, I don't know exactly, but I think it's tomorrow. But I don't know. We don't ever know. You know, we never really can tell. Weathermen just predict. I feel like I'm darker on this side, but y'all, it's okay. Lighting is not perfect tonight, and it doesn't matter. It never is. But sometimes the storms that happen in the springtime, that is getting the soil ready for the plants to grow, like you put seed in the ground and all those things, and it's getting ready for that. Those are good storms, and they could be like heavy rains and things, but they're not destructive. They are nourishing storms. They are something that, no, it just sneezed. I usually yell bless you, but I'm not doing it right now because I don't want to yell in front of y'all. Well, not in front of y'all, it doesn't matter. I just told you I did it, but what I'm saying is I don't want to scream. He thinks it's funny when I do that. I don't always do it, but let's get back on subject. But some of those storms that come are nourishing, and they are, you know, gonna make the plants grow. Then there are some storms, like the storm down in the Gulf right now, that, and like the one that was in California recently, that are destructive, and they tear things apart, and they hurt people's lives. There are some like that. People lose things, they lose them, you know, loved ones, they lose other people, they lose pets, things like that. There are different types of storms. Some are good, some are bad. So that's what I was trying to get at, but I just explained, I over-explained. We know I do that. Alright, so let's go on and go to where we're at. Okay, and like this says, someone inexperienced, like when I was a child, I didn't know that it was because it was going to rain. But once I got to a certain age, I could tell, oh, well, it's fixing to rain, it's about to rain. Even without hearing thunder, even without seeing lightning, even without the clouds, you know, being super dark, you can tell they're getting darker. You can tell that the wind starts blowing, and the wind is blowing that storm towards you. You know, you just know after a certain time. And you can also know that with storms in your life, like when things are going to be happening, you can kind of you get that gut feeling that something's going to happen. Now, that doesn't always mean it's going to be bad. It could be good. You could have a little bit of anxiety or something about something that might upend your whole world, or it might help your world. In other words, you know, like help your life. But some things could destroy things in your life. Not always going to be a bad thing to have those feelings that you know something's about to happen and prepare yourself. I believe God prepares us for things. And so I'm going to go on. We see this kind of feeling in the atmosphere when around the prophet Elijah in 1 Kings 18, figuratively and literally. Elijah had prophesied that no rain would fall for 3 years to prove to wicked King Ahab and other idol worshippers that Yahweh, which it says a biblical name for God, often anglicized as Jehovah. Now, I've never heard that before. I've always heard that Yahweh was God, or is God, and Jehovah, never mind, I'm thinking about Yeshua. Never mind, I didn't say that. I did say that, but I didn't say that. I had my brain. Never mind. Yeshua is Jesus. Yahweh and Jehovah are God. Okay. Please forget that I said that. I'm not perfect. Remember, I'm not a scholar. I'm just a simple person studying the Word. And sometimes I get things wrong. Okay, so where we at? That Yahweh was a true and living God, not Baal or any of the other false gods being worshipped. In this passage, those 3 years were complete, and Elijah and Ahab were in a confrontation. In a competition against the prophets of Baal at Mount Carmel, God allowed Elijah to perform miracles and call down fires from heaven. I'm going to just read, so I'm not going to read any more of that. It also goes down here, it says, Romans 10:17 says, so then faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the word of God. And it's talking about hearing, like Elijah was certain about this. Let's see. It wasn't about what he felt, it was about what he heard. We have to always guard our ears, because it's through the ear that we hear the word of the Lord for ourselves. In other words, we need to listen for God's still small voice. We need to listen to the word. We need to listen, like whenever the pastor, if you have a good pastor and he is teaching you from the word, you need to listen to him. So we need to listen. We need to have our ears on, as they said in school, you know, put your ears on. That's what they used to say in my school anyway. They probably didn't say that everywhere, but my teacher would say, put your listening ears on, and things like that. So, then it says, then anyway, Elijah had told Ahab to go get something to eat and drink. So whenever Ahab went to go get something to eat and drink, Elijah went to pray. And he prayed, and she believes that he prayed for God to manifest what he had heard in his spirit, what Elijah had heard in his spirit. But I'm going to go ahead and put this away, and then I'm going to go ahead and do this, and then I'm going to read 1 Kings. This one says, have you ever requested water at a restaurant? I have. And after a few minutes, wondered where the waiter was with your drink. The restaurant clearly busy, but this doesn't help your thirst and your need for water. The waiter walks past the table and informs you that water is on the way. While your thirst is not quenched, there is a relief in knowing the water will soon come. We also need this reassurance in our times of drought. The drought in our lives is not necessarily physical. A drought can happen in any season, on any day. You can have a drought in your life with lots of things. Like, there's been times when I felt like there was a drought in my life because, like, I would read the Word, I would be studying the Word, and I would think I was doing what I was supposed to be doing. I would be praying like I thought I was supposed to be praying, and I just wasn't hearing from the Lord. I wasn't getting what... Sorry, I gotta turn that alarm off. Okay, so I'm back, and I'm sorry about that. I forgot that it was going to go off. But anyway, I wasn't getting answers. I didn't know what God wanted from me. I didn't know what God needed me to do, or if He needed me to do anything, which honestly He doesn't need us to do anything. Nothing. But sometimes He wants us to do something, not necessarily to prove our faith, or not necessarily to prove to Him that we are going to be obedient, but He needs us to move out of His way. Sometimes that's the thing. Well, there's been times whenever that happened in my life, and then all of a sudden, like, just some little small thing would happen, and it would be like a faucet turned on, and I would hear God speak. Not like literally hear Him speak, but I would know. It would be like, okay, the drought's over. It's different because God is finally, you know, He's telling me, you know, this is going to happen. Well, this happened lots of times in my life where that I was doing all the things I thought I was supposed to be doing and getting nowhere. And then all of a sudden, in God's timing, it happens. If that makes sense. I hope it makes sense. In 1 Kings, Elijah prophesied that drought would take over the land for 3 years. We already read that in the other book. It says, sometimes it takes years for us to feel like our thirst is quenched. We can learn a lot about ourselves and who we are connected to while in these moments. What we should remember is God's promise. When you're in the midst of a drought, physical or not, trust the water is coming your way. Trust that God is coming. Trust that He is it's going to rain. Trust that it is going to rain. In 1 Kings 17:13-16, the widow of Zarephath and Elijah were experiencing a drought, and God made a way out of no way. Be encouraged to know droughts don't last forever, even when rivers dry up. God still can move things around to quench our thirst. Where did I get don't from? I don't know. But I want to read some of these scriptures that this was talking about. And I know that whenever we're doing these studies, we don't go over all the things that the Bible is talking about. Or that we don't go over all of the things that are in here. But we do go over some of it. Let's see. Let me look at the part that is talking about where the widow's son is. Elijah and the widow. It's going to be quite a bit, and I hope that's okay with you guys. But this is just really good because it's two stories of waiting, if that makes sense. There's so many times that we need to wait. We just need to wait and be calm about it and not try to rush God, not try to rush things. And that's what I think that we need to remember, that we have to sometimes wait. And I don't think that people wait enough now. Like, they're so entitled that they think everything should be done right then, the way they want it to be, and on their time, and it's just not right. Yes, I want things quickly at times. I want things to work my way, but sometimes we need to wait. And that's the lesson I got from this, which you guys know the situation Jeff and I are in. It's not really a situation we're in, but the journey we are taking, let's put it that way, the journey we have decided to take that we have, we believe is where the journey we are supposed to be on, the season we're in, we have to wait. And we're okay with that. But I know that the old me, years ago, I wouldn't have been okay. I would have been like, why is this taking so long? Why are they not doing this? Why? You know, that kind of thing. But I'm very content right now with everything, the way it's going right now, and I'm okay. So let me go ahead and read about Elijah and the widow. It is in chapter 17, verse 8. Then the word of the Lord came to him, get up and go to Zarephath, that belongs to Sidon, and stay there. Look, I have commanded a woman who is a widow to provide for you there. So Elijah got up and went to Zarephath. When he arrived at the city gate, there was a widow woman gathering wood. Elijah called to her and said, please bring me a little water in a cup and let me drink. As she went to get it, he called to her and said, please bring me a piece of bread in your hand. But she said, as the Lord your God lives, I don't have anything baked, only a handful of flour in a jar and a bit of oil in a jug. Just now I am gathering a couple of sticks in order to prepare it for myself and my son so we can eat and die. This was her plan. They were going to eat their last meal and die, because she did not have any more food. She had no way to get it. And now it doesn't say how old her son was, as far as I can remember. But anyway, it doesn't say how old he was, but in other studies we've talked about how that widows, okay, if they had a son, that was great, but if their son wasn't old enough to work, they still were destitute. They have no way to get food most of the time. They had no income because their husbands were the ones who that provided for the family. So this widow woman, her son was probably young, and he probably couldn't do the jobs he needed to do to bring them money. So they were on their last meal. So let's go ahead and read more. Now that's just me interpreting things. I could be wrong. The Bible does not say that he was young. It doesn't say, I don't think it says how old he is. I really don't remember, and my brain is like, what? right now with that. But anyway, it doesn't really say how old he is. Then Elijah said to her, don't be afraid. Go and do as you have said. But first make me a small loaf from it and bring it out to me. Afterward you may make some for your son, for yourself and your son. And for this is what the Lord God of Israel says. The flour jar will not become empty, and the oil jug will not run dry until the day the Lord sends rain on the surface of the land. Remember, there had been no rain for 3 years. There had been no crops most likely either, and that could be another reason why she didn't have any grain stored up, because she couldn't even go and gather the what are they called, just like in whenever Ruth was gathering at the edge of the field, what are they called? I can't remember right now, but it's what they leave for the widows and orphans to get. It was something they did, and I can't think. You guys can tell me. I know I will remember it, and I'll probably just put it on the screen or something, but I don't know. But let me just see. Y'all, I can't stop until I know. It's just me. If I had my phone sitting here, I could look at that, but I don't have my phone sitting here. It's over there. And I know we've not long ago studied Ruth. Okay. Like, we studied the whole book of Ruth last year, I'm gonna say. Okay. Let her even gather grain among the bundles, and don't humiliate her. Pull out some stalks from the bundles. Oh, this version doesn't even say the word. Oh man. Anyway, y'all know what I mean. It's where that they gathered on the edge of the field. They would leave it there for the widows and orphans, but Boaz told them to drop some on purpose and to leave some there. Don't rebuke her. But the proper word is not in this version, and this is the Holman Christian Standard Bible. Some people don't like this version, and I haven't read it much, but sometimes I have a harder time with it, and sometimes I don't. So I don't know. Anyways, now I'm sorry I have gotten way off of subject. But what I was saying is, the widow lady, the widow woman that was talking to Elijah, probably didn't even have that at that time. And that was a way that widows could eat. They could go glean the edges of the field, which has a proper word, but you know, I can't, my brain. I can't think of what it is, and I'll probably think of it in the middle of the night tonight and freak Jeff out and scare him or something, because I'll say it out loud and he'll be like, what? Oh, it's just a word I couldn't think of today. He's used to it. Okay, so she proceeded to do according to the word of Elijah. Then the woman, Elijah, and her household ate for many days. The flour jar did not become empty, and the oil jug did not run dry, according to the word of the Lord he had spoken through Elijah. So she listened to what Elijah said. The Lord had spoken through him, and they did not go hungry. And she did not, because she did what God said. She did what the man said. The man of God said. They ate without any issue. So anyway, now we're going to talk about chapter 18. It says, after a long time the word of the Lord came to Elijah in the 3rd year. Go and present yourself to Ahab. I will send rain to the surface of the land. So Elijah went to present himself to Ahab. The famine was severe in Samaria. Ahab called for Obadiah, who was in charge of the palace. Obadiah was a man who greatly feared the Lord, and took 100 prophets and hid them, 50 men in a cave, and provided them with food and water. When Jezebel slaughtered the Lord's prophets, Ahab said to Obadiah, go throughout the land to every spring of water and to every what is a wadi? W-A-D-I. What does that mean? Perhaps we'll find grass so we can keep the horses and mules alive and not have to destroy any cattle. I don't read this version very much. I only leave it in this little thing I have with these books, because it was small. What does that word mean? I don't even know. Like, it's got a dot beside it, but I don't know why. Let me get another Bible. This one's bugging me tonight. And another thing, whenever I am reading for this stuff, a lot of times I read on my phone, or I will read one of my other Bibles that's on my desk. I will write down the scriptures and just have them on my desk. I don't even really use this Bible except whenever I'm talking to y'all. I don't know if I love that version. So let me find this in here. 1 Kings, this is 2 Kings. I'll be there in a moment. Okay, where's it at here? Ahab said to Obadiah, we must check every spring and valley. W-A-D-I. I gotta figure that out. Y'all, I don't know. I've been doing a lot of thinking about different Bible versions and stuff, because I know there's certain Bible versions that I don't prefer. Like, I don't prefer the Message, because it's, I mean, maybe if you were just reading it as a story, but I don't prefer it because it's not the full Bible. And I don't know, that one I don't know much about. I got it because there was a lot of people using it at church and they liked it a lot, so I got a version of it. I got it at a really good price, so I bought it. And I don't know. I just don't know. But that says valley, not wattle or waddy or whatever it says. So let me go back to this. We must check every spring and valley in the land to see if we can find enough grass to save at least some of my horses and mules. So they divided the land between them. Ahab went one way by himself, and Obadiah went the other way by himself. And as Obadiah was walking along, he suddenly saw Elijah coming toward him. Obadiah recognized him at once and bowed low to the ground before him. "Is it really you, my lord Elijah?" he asked. "Yes, it is," Elijah replied. "Now go and tell your master, Elijah is here." "Oh, sir," Obadiah protested, "what harm have I done to you that you are sending me to my death at the hands of Ahab? For I swear by the Lord your God that the king has searched every nation and kingdom on earth from end to end to find you, and each time he was told, 'Elijah isn't here.' King Ahab forced the king of that nation to swear to the truth of his claim. And now you say, 'Go and tell your master, Elijah is here.' But as soon as I leave you, the Spirit of the Lord will carry you away to who knows where. When Ahab comes and cannot find you, he will kill me. Yet I have been a true servant of the Lord all my life." So he was scared that Elijah was going to go somewhere else, and the king was going to kill him. Where was I at? Oh my goodness. I need to keep a place there. "Has no one told you, my lord, about the time when Jezebel was trying to kill the Lord's prophets? I hid 100 of them in 2 caves and supplied them with food and water. And now you say, 'Go and tell your master, Elijah is here.' Sir, if I do that, Ahab will certainly kill me." But Elijah said, "I swear by the Lord Almighty, in whose presence I stand, that I will present myself to Ahab this very day." Now my battery's going to die. Y'all, I'm having issues, but that's okay. We're going to make it through. So Obadiah went to tell Ahab, and Elijah had come, and Ahab went out to meet Elijah. Okay, so he went to see him and all this stuff, and then they did their battle. They had their battle, and in the end, all the prophets of Baal had died. I believe it's all prophets. But they had done these different things back and forth. And it says, "Then Elijah commanded, 'Seize all the prophets of Baal. Don't let a single one escape.' So the people seized them, and Elijah took them down to the Kishon Valley and killed them there." So yes, that's what happened. And then Elijah told Ahab to go get some food. So he went to go get some food, and he went to go pray. This says, "So Ahab went to eat, but Elijah climbed the top of Mount Carmel and bowed low to the ground and prayed with his face between his knees. Then he said to his servant, 'Go and look out toward the sea.' And the servant went and looked. Then returned to Elijah and said, 'I didn't see anything.'" So he didn't see anything 7 times. Elijah told him to do this. And finally, on the 7th time, his servant said, "I saw a little cloud about the size of a man's hand rising from the sea." A little bitty cloud the size of a man's hand rising from the sea. Then Elijah shouted, "Hurry to Ahab and tell him, 'Climb into your chariot and go back home. If you don't hurry, the rain will stop you.'" So he's telling him there's going to be a storm. And soon the sky was black with clouds, and heavy wind brought the terrific rainstorm, and Ahab left quickly for Jezreel. Then the Lord gave special strength to Elijah. He tucked his cloak into his belt and ran ahead of Ahab's chariots all the way to entrance of Jezreel. Jezreel, that's right. I read it right. So there was such a storm, and all it took was obedience. It took patience, and it took someone praying and knowing God. There were 2 men of God in this story, and a whole lot of people who were not men of God. Now, one of the men of God did hide 100 prophets. He did what God wanted him to do. That's all we have to do is wait. Because throughout the drought, it's hard. It's difficult, just like the widow woman. It's difficult. We may not have much food. We may not have much strength left in us to make that little bit of bread. We might want to just go ahead and eat and die. Just give up. But if we listen to God, if we obey God, if we do what He says, if we stay in God's Word, the drought will be over. We will make it. The rain will come, and it will be good. And that's what we have to look forward to. It doesn't have to be a bad storm. It could be a wonderful rain. Just like today, we needed rain. It's a wonderful thing. And I know that there's a lot of people bracing for a big storm right now. That literally and figuratively, they're bracing for a big storm. But we just have to stay in the Word, stay in our prayer closet, and keep the faith and keep going. And God's going to take us through the storm, not just the storm come, but take us through the storm. No matter what it is in our lives, He will take care of us. I think that's all I have today. I don't know if it made sense. I hope it did. But next time. Okay, I didn't make it before the battery ended. But the next time, I don't know if I said this or not yet, is 2 Kings 1 through 22. And that'll be the next reading. And we just need to stay in our Word. We need to stay in prayer. We need to focus on God and not focus on the drought. Not focus on what's happening right now as much as what is going to happen. Not focus on how we feel even sometimes, because our feelings can kind of mess us up and make us believe things that aren't true. We just need to focus on God. We need to focus on what He wants from us. And if we don't, if like we're in the drought like I was talking about, I've been in before, if we're in that drought where we're reading our Word, we're praying, we're doing all the things, but we're still dry, just wait. The rain will come. That little cloud the size of a man's hand will come up out of the ocean. Or it looks like, you know, out of the ocean. It will come, and it will just give us great rain. And we just have to keep going. That's the key, is to keep going. Don't give up on whatever it is God is telling you to do. Because the minute we give up, the minute that we stop, that's when we've lost our faith. Not necessarily lost all of our faith. Not saying we lost our faith in God, but we lost our faith in what He can do for us sometimes. Not saying we've lost our faith in everything about God, but that thing that He's promised us, we've lost our faith in that. And that's one thing God does not want us to do. And I know that if we stay in the Word and we stay in prayer, our faith will keep growing, even if we don't feel like it's growing. And that little bit will happen where we will see that God's right there. He'll be right there for you. Anytime you need Him, He's there. Whether you think He is or not, He's there. He's the one that never leaves, never forsakes, no matter what. So, I'm going to go. I will see you guys again tomorrow. Thank you for hanging out with me today. I do hope you enjoyed this. And I know that I've been doing study and folds, but I really just felt like I wanted to do more touching the, reading the things and stuff. I didn't want to try to explain this without actually reading from God's Word today, because I felt like that was what I needed to do. Now, I think this Bible I'm going to take out of this little case and put a different one in here, because like I said, I don't read this version very much. I'm not super familiar with it, and I don't know what that means. Okay, so I couldn't leave it alone. I had to figure it out. So I looked at different Bible, different things, and couldn't figure it out. So I went to Google and I looked up the word, W-A-D-I, and it's wadi. Okay, it says in certain Arabic speaking countries it's a valley, ravine, or channel that is dry except in a rainy season. So it means valley, but I don't know why they decided to use it that way in this version, but that's what it means. I'm gonna go. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I do appreciate it. I don't know if I've said this or not yet, but I'm saying it again if I did. If you like this video, go ahead and hit the like button. If you like my channel, go ahead and subscribe and hit the bell so you'll be notified whenever I upload. But most importantly, leave me a comment down below. Let me know how you're doing. Let me know if you enjoy the Bible studies. I'm enjoying them, so I'm going to keep doing them. And I hope to see you again next week for this, and also for all the rest of the videos. Remember, don't take any wooden nickels, and be sweet.